Dear friends, in the first chapter, we could come to know about the casteism and we discussed whether our forefathers were responsible or not, or whether it was given to us by the foreign invaders. We understand it very well that during the time we were dependent or we were not independent, we were looted, beaten, and even killed. What sort of sufferings our forefathers suffered can really be imagined at the present time. The foreigners invented 41 ways of punishment to our forefathers, and it was very much hard to imagine that even their eyes were smashed and rod was used through their private parts. These examples are sufficient for us to understand that the great fathers, our ancestors or great forefathers, really suffered a lot. They wanted to be foolish, they wanted to destroy our culture, so they created a force of sycophant whom they paid in cash and also in assets. And they expected that they shall continue their business for a longer period of the time. However, we have to think that the main purpose and their hidden agenda was not only to rule over us, and they ruled over us too, but they wanted to enslave us mentally and financially, and for themselves. Surprisingly, they lived a life of enjoyment. They earned money at the cost of the lives of the Indians during that period of the time. And today we see that the money thirsty people tell us what to do or what not to do. Anyway, now we take this topic seriously and go further. We know it very well that during the time Britishers ruled over us in 1833, Lord Macaulay came to India and he gave a lecture on 2nd February 1835 in the British Parliament. What he said surprises us even today. He said that he traveled the whole India and he did not find even a single man who was a beggar or who was a thief. The values, social and cultural, were so high that he never saw any person elsewhere. Secondly, he said that if we want to rule over the country India, then we have to the backbone of this nation, which is very much associated with spiritualism and the culture. Definitely, if we fail to do so, it will be very difficult for us to rule over the country. So he gave this proposal in the British Parliament that we have to break the culture, the Indian culture, and also impose their own education system, destroying our old education system as was in the vogue in the country. A time shall come when these people will start thinking themselves as great and will feel happy speaking their language, and they shall at that time lose their self feeling of self honor, self prestige, and we can say swabhiman, and the culture shall be destroyed. Instead, they shall be successful in imposing over us the crystal culture, and at that point of the time, the whole country shall be within our reigns, and whole countries shall be enslaved. Now we can understand, and we see even today. First thing what we get from his lecture is related to the peaceful coexistence. It means people lived here with a sense of satisfaction, with a sense of coexistence, that too peacefully. The peace reigned through their blood. Macaulay himself thought to pelt a stone in order to disturb the equilibrium and the social texture of the nation. We can understand that this tradition we see is still in some of their followers who simply believe in the life of luxury and do not take care what others suffer. They shall cry, remove poverty, give employment, but for them they live a life of lavish, full of luxuries, etc. However, even for sometimes we feel that casteism has been here, but we have not seen this bloodshed as it happened in the context of other countries. For example, in Pakistan itself, some people don't believe that Ahmadiyas are the Muslims. So even General Ziaul Haq very recently ordered for them to be murdered and butchered in the name of religion on a very large scale. In other areas too, we see those who talk of high values, those who feel themselves quite superior, they have also suffered and shed bloodshed in the name of the skin. And this type of fights has been luckily zero in the nation. Such bloodshed has been far away from the Indian way of life. However, the problem which came to us from them was divide the people and destroy the nation in the name of the race, caste, politics, etc. And this conspiracy is still going on. We see, if I take one example from what Bal Thackeray said once, if we want to destroy the nation, then we have to follow the tradition of converting the people and taking them away from their faith. And we have seen so in many places in the nation even today, those who left us due to ignorance, due to darkness, or due to one or other sort of problem are in a violent position. They have resorted to violence and want to separate from our nation. In the third chapter, we shall discuss the other things. Thank you for watching.